Labor Day, the first Monday in September, commemorates American workers. I commemorate Elizabeth. Elizabeth was the granddaughter of slaves. She was born in Texas, near where her grandfather found his freedom at the end of the Civil War, a freedom that for the most part meant that he continued to work on the farm where he'd been a slave. For him, at least, at first, emancipation meant that he had to pay for his lodging and that he had the freedom to leave. The freedom to leave didn't mean as much when he couldn't get a job and would starve without work. I grew up in the 1950s and 1960s, and I'm a product of my environment, education, and experience. Elizabeth was a great part of these three elements of learning. During the time that I grew up, it was not unusual for a family to have a housekeeper living with the family during the week and returning to her own home on weekends. Elizabeth was our housekeeper. I wince at referring to her as a housekeeper because she was so much more than that. Elizabeth was an early part of the civil rights movement. She joined the NAACP shortly after its founding in 1909. I remember her telling me that a man near her hometown was lynched just for joining the organization. Elizabeth didn't preach at all, but she made clear that she was a woman of iron faith and perseverance. Her Bible was tattered, old, and underlined. I think that she knew it from beginning to end. She would sing or hum gospel tunes while she went about the grinding work of ironing for a family of 5. When JFK was running against Nixon in 1960, she had a picture of JFK. She didn't like Nixon at all. I think that she said that he was mean and nasty. She didn't tell me that JFK was more sensitive to African Americans in the lexicon of the 1960s Negroes, but it was evident in the events of the early 1960s. Elizabeth humanized these events for me. They meant something. Why would someone blow up a church in Birmingham, Alabama, and kill 4 little girls and injure 22 others? What was so bad about a black person, someone like Elizabeth, whom we loved, attending a university? Some of the meanness of the time just seemed ridiculous. There's so much that I can say about Elizabeth, but this is a brief memory. She impacted all of our lives. My daughter and in turn my granddaughter are named after her. My dad and I were the only white people at her funeral. For the first time, we saw the joy of her church that she so cherished. Elizabeth worked hard and she suffered silently. Her life of service epitomizes an example of a life made eloquent by the actions of a great human being, one of the greatest that I have met. Thank you.